Once you've gotten through the first 2 instructional design interview rounds, they're probably going to ask you to do a take-home project. You may have seen a previous video where I kind of go over and explain the most common take-home projects, but in this video, we're going to actually take the prompt, read through it together, and I'll show you kind of how I go about breaking it down, researching the topic, drafting out my project itself, finally building out my project, using the sponsor of today's video, iSpring Page, but more on that in a bit. Let's get into it. So the prompt that we're going to be using today is kind of one that you might experience yourself, and it is create a piece of content that teaches the 5 P's of marketing: product, price, promotion, place, and people. Like I said, this is an example prompt. You may come across something similar or even the same prompt. So let's go ahead and talk about how I would first approach this prompt. Start building my instructional design take-home project. All right, so you can see here that I've found 2 websites that talk about the 5 P's of marketing: product, price, promotion, place, and people. So they cover here as well. I'm gonna spend about 20 minutes reading through what the 5 P's are, why they're important to marketing. I'm also gonna be taking notes in this Google Doc that I've started, which has, the name of the company, take-home project, as well as the prompt, and I'll leave a note section here. This is where I'll go ahead and just jot down the 5 P's as well as what they mean so that I have all my notes in one doc. I'll also use this same document to actually draft my piece of content for my take-home project. So as I'm taking notes, I like to make sure that I keep the audience in mind of who the course is for. So this is going to be for new marketers. So I'm not going to go too in depth with the content, but I will want to make sure I provide examples to kind of get the point across. All right, so now that I've spent about 20 minutes doing some research, I'm going to look through everything that I've gathered, and I'm going to decide if I want to go forward with creating a job aid, which is like a PDF quick reference cheat sheet, or if I want to go ahead and make a video about the content, or if I want to make a course, like a mini course about the content, or if I want to do some sort of combination of all 3. I could go with a job aid where I just create bullet points and a high-level summary of each P, for marketing: the product, price, promotion, place, and people. But as I'm thinking about what would look good from a recruiter or a hiring person's standpoint, I might want to go forward with a mini course so that I can make it a little bit more interactive. I can provide additional examples, and then I could also insert a job aid if I end up creating one into the course, so it's not just the course, but there's downloads with the job aid. Okay, so let me know what you think of this angle. I don't know, I'm just kind of experimenting with camera angles, but this is my new monitor. You might have seen it when I did my office makeover video, so I'll link that again if you want to check that out. But I'm gonna be now drafting out the course that I'm gonna be building. I just duplicated this page because I like to be able to reference the notes while I'm actually, here's the notes, I'm actually just gonna draft my course directly into the same doc. So as I mentioned before, I'm gonna always want to keep the audience of the course in mind as I'm creating the outline. Each lesson is gonna be, related back to the 5 P's of marketing. So I'll start with an introduction, just a general high level of what the 5 P's are, kind of give a high level overview definition of each of them. And I'll also be sure to note any sort of interactivity or activity that I think would be good to make the content more engaging. So for each of the following lessons, I'm going to dedicate one lesson to one of the 5 P's. So, we have place, price, promotion, product, people. So each of the lessons will kind of focus more specifically on one of those P's. And again, within each lesson, I'm going to draft out and note any sort of activities or examples or scenarios that I can include to make the information and the content a little bit more engaging. This could be either adding in different job aids or PDFs or videos or screenshots, images, even audio clips. I'll make sure to note that in my outline so I can add it when I build it. Building this with iSpring Page, which is an all-in-one course building platform. It allows me to create courses, add knowledge checks, make things interactive. So let's go ahead and create a new course. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and we will name this course So that's going to be the course name, and then we'll just add introduction. Okay, so usually on the introduction page of a course, I like to add an overview of the course as well as list the course outline. This just is like the landing page for the course. All right, let's turn these into headers. Now you can see the course outlines there. Time estimate we can keep in just a normal font size, and we'll add an introduction. Okay. And yeah, that looks like a good landing page. So let's go ahead and add in our first lesson, which is familiarize yourself with the 5 P's of marketing. So as I start to build out each lesson in iSpring, I like to use sort of like a template approach. So I like to include an introduction at the start of each lesson, and then I'll get into the content. This way, the learner will see like a very familiar template across each lesson. I really like using iSpring because it really has a nice clean interface, and the courses, as I'm building them, you can see on the screen, they look really nice and clean. Here, I'll go ahead and add in the different definitions of each of the 5 P's of marketing. And okay, I'll make sure that I formatted it a little bit, because when I do bullet points, I like to make sure that the keywords of each bullet point are bold font, just to kind of help the learner's eyes just skim a little bit more easily. I'll go ahead and add a little bit more text. Well, I'll leave probably like placeholder text, but just to show you that how easy it is to add additional text. And then below it, we'll go ahead and look at some other different features that we can add to make our course a little bit more interactive. So when it comes to like definitions or introductory content, I really love to use a flashcard feature, similar to flashcards that you would write when you were younger. You write the word on one side and the definition on the other side. This makes the content more interactive, and people can kind of practice the definitions to just kind of remember what definition goes with each word. I can customize the different sizes and fonts of each of these flashcards, and I think it will just kind of give a little bit of extra interactivity to my course. Again, I like to use this when it comes to definitions or facts, or even we can do questions on one side and answers on the other side of the flashcard. Lots of uses for this feature. So I'll go ahead and I'll copy paste the definitions for each of the different terms onto the back sides of the cards. And as you're building your course, it's always good, periodically to go ahead and pause what you're doing and preview what the course is looking like, just to make sure you're on the right track and it's looking how you want it to. All right, so here's the introduction course. Get to know the 5 P's of marketing. Shows the introduction, the course outline, time estimate, and then it shows I can click next chapter, which has the lesson of the next chapter. Click it. Lesson 1, familiarize yourself with the 5 P's of marketing. I like that it has this bar that kind of shows the progress. Okay, you're new to marketing. Okay, that looks nice. I'll add more text later. And look, here's my flip cards. Flip. great. I can also see what it looks like if I were to do it on like an iPad or a phone. Well, this is the iPad view. Looks really nice. We're still able to use the flip card functionality. We'll see what it looks like on a phone. Ooh, this looks nice. I can add an image here as well if I wanted to, but this looks really good. Okay, cool. That looks great. So another feature that I think is really useful, especially when you're creating courses, is the knowledge check or the question feature. This is where you can add sort of like a quiz question or some sort of knowledge check just to make sure that the learner is, understanding the content that you're teaching. It can be either graded or ungraded. I generally at first like to have an ungraded question because the learner is just kind of getting familiar with the content. And eventually, you can upgrade to a graded question once you get to like the assessment portion of your course. So let's take a look and see what this looks like when we're actually previewing the course and like what it will look like with the learner actually interacting with it. So yeah, this looks very nice, very clean. I'll definitely be including one of these knowledge checks within each lesson. And once I'm done creating the course, I'm gonna click share, which then I'll click make viewable via link, which means that I can copy and paste this link into an email and whoever has access to this link can preview my course. So I'll open it up. Let's open up an incognito window. I'll just paste my link here. And anyone who has access to this link can view my course. So super easy to share with recruiters and it looks really clean. And I'll be very proud to, present this to the recruiters. And that's it for today's video. I wanted to say a huge thank you to iSpring Page for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in creating your own iSpring account, I'll link it down below. And if you want a little more guidance in creating your online course, I do have a book called Create Your Online Course available on Amazon. It's a workbook that just covers step-by-step how you should approach creating your online course, whether it's crafting your learning objectives or creating your course outline. Could be useful, so check it out. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.